At a dinner party, a top-tier alpha chose me for an arranged marriage. The next thing I knew, I was dosed with a heat inducer and spent the night with a total stranger. But the wedding was still on. On our wedding night, I caught a familiar pheromone scent. Wait a second. I think I just found the damn alpha from that night. My family was on the verge of bankruptcy. That's why my father dragged me and my younger brother, Toby, to the Mason family's dinner party. Cashing in on the life debt my grandfather was owed by old Mr. Mason, my dad was demanding a marriage alliance between our families. Faced with my father's shamelessness, the Masons remained stone-faced. The alpha being forced into this marriage frowned, his expression sour. As the drinks flowed, his gaze landed on me. Then I heard him say it. Fine. I'll agree to the marriage. I want Leo. Huh? Me? With his goal achieved, my father's grin stretched from ear to ear. He was even happier that I was the one chosen. It meant he could still use my brother, a top-tier Omega, to secure another alliance with a different family. Toby's smile instantly vanished. Through clenched teeth, he said, "Congratulations, brother. Let me toast to you." He knew I was a lightweight, a one-drink wonder, but Toby forced me to drink it. With everyone watching, I had no choice but to down it. Tasted a little strange. Before long, my head started spinning. Using dizziness as an excuse, I managed to slip away and went to the guest room the Masons had arranged for me. The moment I opened the door, the rich aroma of sweet wine hit me full in the face. The scent was so overwhelming I nearly lost my balance. "Sorry, wrong room," I stammered, backing away. But I checked the room number. This was the right one. In the dim light, a hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. The world spun, and I was slammed against the back of the door. "They have suppressants at the front desk. I can call for you." My voice died in my throat as a sharp pain pierced the back of my neck. In an instant, I was powerless to struggle, left at the mercy of the strange alpha marking me. That alpha was like a dog, nipping and biting at me. Through the haze, all I remember is this. The hotel bed was soft, so soft I felt like I was sinking endlessly. No matter how much I struggled, I couldn't escape the inescapable net woven from his pheromones. As dawn broke, the damn alpha went to take a shower. Ignoring the soreness in my body, I quickly threw on my clothes and bolted. If my father found out I'd been out all night, he would raise hell. "Brother, why are you coming in from outside so early?" I froze, looking at Toby, who should have been asleep. The sun had barely risen, so this was Toby's doing. I bit my finger, trying to think of an excuse. "How much did you drink last night?" Toby appeared beside me, his nostrils flaring slightly. "You reek of alcohol." In that moment, I was grateful the man's pheromones smelled like sweet wine. The strong scent could easily be mistaken for liquor. Besides, Toby had forced me to drink last night. Too much. I ended up crashing at the hotel. Toby nodded, leaning closer. "Do you want this marriage? If you don't, I can take your place." My gaze hardened as I stared at him. I was becoming more and more certain that last night was his handiwork. He probably never expected me to return reeking of alcohol but without a mark on me. I refused flatly. Not necessary. We were biological brothers. But because Toby's pheromone level was higher, he easily won our parents' favor. As a recessive Omega, I felt like I was just there to make up the numbers. But being the favorite wasn't enough for Toby. He wanted me gone. He'd been brazen about it since we were kids. There were several times he nearly got me killed. I was sick of living in that house. Now that I had a chance to escape, why would I ever pass it up? It was as if fate itself was giving me a helping hand. My father was in a hurry, and so were the Masons. It had only been a month since the engagement was confirmed, but they were already having me and Liam get our marriage license today. I waited for half an hour at City Hall before he finally showed up. "You're Leo?" Liam looked down at me. I stared back at him, confused. Didn't he personally say he wanted me? How could he not even recognize me on our wedding day? "That's me." I stood up, rubbing my numb legs. I followed Liam inside. The clerk asked, "Have you two had your pheromone compatibility tested?" "No." 97.45%. Liam and I answered at the same time. I shot him a surprised look. Neither of us had been tested, so how could he be so sure? After filling out the forms with Liam, I sat next to him in front of the camera. Okay, folks, move a little closer. Relax. Liam sat as still as a statue. I had no choice but to scoot over and lean my whole body against him. Great, the photographer said. Now smile. Liam remained expressionless. I forced the best smile I could manage. Clutching our marriage certificate as we got into the car, I still felt like I was in a daze. We were married, just like that, to an alpha I barely knew. Liam looked down at the certificate, his brow furrowed. Are you excited about this marriage? I quickly put the certificate away. It's a picture, aren't you supposed to smile? Liam's frown deepened. But you look good even when you don't smile. I praised him sincerely. In the photo, Liam had a neutral expression, his features sharp and striking. I was plastered next to him, my smile stiff and awkward. We really didn't look like a good match. But there was nothing I could do about it. He was the one who chose me. Before the dinner party, my father had the hospital run a pheromone compatibility test for me, Liam said suddenly. I blinked, taking a moment to process what he'd said. He was explaining his 97.45% comment. So, my compatibility with you is the highest? I asked, intrigued. After presenting, all alphas and omegas had to have their pheromones registered at a hospital for compatibility testing. I'd heard that highly compatible pairs got along very comfortably. I couldn't help but start looking forward to our married life. Yes, Liam nodded. Because my pheromone levels are so high, I developed a pheromone imbalance disorder. My eyes widened, and I looked him up and down. You couldn't tell at all that he was sick. So having high-grade pheromones wasn't always a good thing. Is there anything you need me to do to help? Liam glanced at me and refused flatly. No, I can control it with medication. You don't need to worry about me. He paused, then handed me the marriage certificate to put away. So, it's best if we just stay out of each other's way. I nodded to show I understood. When we got home, Liam registered my fingerprint and pushed the door open. You can sleep in any room you want except for the study. I decided to tease him a little and asked deliberately, even the master bedroom? Liam stopped in his tracks and turned to look at me. If you don't mind, sure, he said. His words made my face flush. In a place where an alpha and omega lived long-term, their pheromones would linger in every corner. This made it seem like I was a little too eager. I chuckled nervously. I was just kidding. Liam helped me carry my luggage to the guest room, then disappeared into his study. I gave the room a quick scan. The guest room was decorated in warm tones. Compared to the cool tones of the living room, it felt incredibly cozy. I was very satisfied and began to look forward to living here. By the time I finished unpacking, it was already dark outside. My stomach was growling, so I went to the kitchen to see what I could whip up. The fridge was full of ingredients, but I didn't know how to cook much. A moment later, Liam appeared, his face grim. What are you doing? He glanced at the blackened pot. Couldn't get the master bedroom, so you decided to burn down the house instead? No. I was so embarrassed I could have drilled a hole in the floor with my gaze. At my family's home, the housekeeper always cooked. I never imagined Liam wouldn't have one. I also hadn't expected that noodles, which seemed so easy to make, would end up completely burnt. Get out. Liam snatched the pot I was trying to salvage. I hung my head and scurried out of the kitchen. Soon, Liam had prepared a full meal of 3 dishes and a soup. He was surprisingly good, even better than our housekeeper back home. I wolfed down 3 large bowls of rice. Liam frowned. Don't they feed you at home? They do, I explained, pursing my lips. Your cooking is just really good. A rare hint of awkwardness crossed Liam's face. Not like some people who try to blow up the kitchen the second they get hungry. With that, he put down his bowl and stood up. Feeling indebted, I offered to clear the table and do the dishes. When I finished and came out of the kitchen, I slammed right into a wall of muscle. Rubbing my sore nose, I asked tearfully, Is something wrong? He was probably afraid I'd destroy the kitchen just by washing dishes, so he stood there like a guard dog. Liam took my hand away from my face and checked my nose. After confirming I was fine, he said, From now on, when I'm not here, someone will come to cook. Looks like he really was afraid I'd burn the house down. Got it. I huffed. I had just gotten into bed after my shower when I heard a strange noise at the door. A second later, it was thrown open with force. The door slammed against the wall with a loud bang. I jumped, staring at the alpha who had just burst in. Liam. I clutched the blanket tightly, asking in a panic, "What are you doing?" We agreed to stay out of each other's way. What was he doing barging into my room in the middle of the night? Liam strode over, a look of hurt on his face I'd never seen before. "Honey, why won't you sleep with me?" "What? What is this now?" While I was still reeling, Liam climbed onto my bed. I caught the scent of his pheromones. A rich, sweet wine. So familiar it reminded me of that hazy, passionate night. No way. Couldn't be that much of a coincidence. Liam was the damn alpha who almost marked me. Liam ripped the blanket off and pulled me into his arms. I was forced to straddle his lap, the pheromones so thick they made me tremble. Liam, what's wrong with you?" Liam looked up at me, his deep eyes like an abyss, nearly pulling me in. "Don't you like me, honey?" His eyes were red-rimmed and brimming with tears. "Why are we sleeping in separate rooms?" Drowning in the flood of his pheromones, I managed to squeeze out, "You were the one who said so." Who would have thought that the cold, aloof alpha from the daytime would turn into this at night? His body was burning like a furnace, and his pheromones were so aggressive they felt like they were about to devour me. "Are you in your rut?" I asked, my voice shaking. Liam shook his head like a child's rattle. He pressed his mouth to mine, kissing me until I couldn't breathe. Smelling the intense aroma of sweet wine, his words from earlier flashed through my mind. Could it be his pheromone imbalance disorder was acting up? Before I could think, Liam's teeth were at my scent gland, just barely breaking the skin. My hair stood on end instinctively, and I struggled weakly. "I need your pheromones," Liam whispered. He sounded so pitiful. His teeth pressed against my gland, just enough to break the skin. I couldn't resist and was forced to release my pheromones. But my glands were nearly wrung dry, and the faint scent of lychee in the air was barely there. All I could smell was sweet wine. Without enough pheromones, Liam found other ways to torment me. Amidst the tangled scents, I was absolutely certain. He was the damn alpha from that night, the one who nipped and bit me all over. "Honey, your pheromones," Liam's voice was nasal. "More." I wanted to cry but had no tears. There's none left. When I groggily woke up, I was met with a pair of clear eyes. I snapped awake and pushed Liam away. Liam had clearly been awake for a while. Seeing me, he asked, "Why am I here?" I was stunned for a second. Was he really pulling a hit it and quit it on me? Or maybe he knew it was me that night, was mad I ran off, and was now faking amnesia to piss me off. My whole body ached, and I couldn't help the anger in my voice. I shot him a glare. "What do you think? You came here yourself. It's not like I could have carried you." He was the one who said we should keep our distance. Then he turns around and crawls into my bed. He called me honey over and over, crying and throwing a fit if I didn't give him pheromones. And now, after a night's sleep, he's acting like a total stranger. He was ruining my morning. "Sorry, I don't remember." His tone was as flat as if he were saying, "The weather is nice today." Liam dressed quickly and stood up. "Do you want to sleep in or get up?" I yawned and turned my back to him irritably. "None of your business." The moment the door clicked shut, I couldn't stop myself from cursing. "You scumbag alpha." The next day, just before bed, I watched Liam take his medication. I let out a subconscious sigh of relief. Nothing should happen tonight, right? Last night, he nearly wore me out completely. I was still sore today. Suddenly, Liam looked over at me. Our eyes met. Liam looked a little awkward, like he wanted to say something. I took the initiative. "Is something wrong?" Liam's Adam's apple bobbed. "About last night, I was out of line." I raised an eyebrow in surprise. I thought he was going to keep pretending he didn't know. Liam continued, "But I really don't remember it." My smile froze. "You really don't remember?" "No." Liam frowned. "I saw my doctor. He said it might be a side effect of the flare-up." He suggested I try increasing my dosage. I bit my lip, thought it over, and decided to tell him. If you're really struggling, I can help you. Liam refused without a second thought. I immediately went back to my room and locked the door. In the haze of sleep, the door was suddenly smashed open. The lock was instantly sacrificed. The damn alpha rushed in from outside, the corners of his eyes red. Honey, the door was broken. I almost couldn't get in. I backed into a corner, watching him warily. Didn't he take his medicine? Why was he having another episode? Liam grabbed my ankle and yanked. I fell into his arms. His pheromones were overpowering, like I'd fallen into a vat of wine. Intoxicating. Remembering how he'd rejected my offer earlier, I no longer felt like fulfilling my so-called spousal duties. Let go of me. Liam just held me tighter, squeezing me so hard I could barely breathe. I fought back, kicking and shoving him. It was like Liam couldn't feel pain. He just kept kissing and biting me. Never. I hadn't had a drop of alcohol, but I was about to get drunk on his sweet wine scent. His hands slid under my shirt, and my knees instantly went weak. Wait, I stopped him just in time. Not tonight. Liam looked like the world was ending. Why? I turned my face away and whispered, I'm still sore. Liam settled for the next best thing. Can I just mark you? Please. Did I really have a say in the matter? Liam looked like he'd do it by force if I said no. Fine. Liam realized the medicine wasn't working and told me to lock my door. He even had an expensive, heavy-duty lock installed, saying it was kick-proof. But over the next 2 weeks, the door was broken 10 times. I just gave up and stopped locking it. No matter what I did, the bull-strong alpha would just smash it open anyway. I couldn't face the locksmith anymore. One time, I recorded a video to show Liam. The Liam in the video was a completely different person from his daytime self. Cold and quiet by day, a whiny, clingy baby by night. After watching it, Liam was silent for an entire day. After that, whenever I tried to record him at night for evidence, Liam would always stop me. I sometimes suspected his daytime amnesia was a lie. Otherwise, how would he know at night that I was secretly recording him and try to stop me? I'm sorry, I really don't remember, and I've already increased my dosage. He had, in fact, increased his dosage. He took the pills in front of me every day. I figured he was just as frustrated as I was, so I didn't press the issue. Besides, I wasn't exactly losing out. Thanks to him, my usually frequent heats hadn't come at all. I was more than happy to be free of that suffering. Liam walked past me, pulling a suitcase. Don't worry, I'm leaving on a business trip tonight. Liam was gone for half a month. I slept soundly and contentedly. However, my frequently marked scent gland felt a little off. Especially the last couple of days, it had been swollen, itchy, and made me feel nauseous. The thought of him coming back tonight made me both nervous and excited. I wanted him to burst through the door, but I also didn't want to be tormented by him. Just as I was about to drift off, clutching my blanket, the door opened. The alpha climbed onto the bed with practiced ease, pulling me into his embrace. His voice was clingy. Honey, I missed you so much. His kisses fell on me urgently. Liam's lips pressed against mine, his tongue tangling with mine, refusing to let go. Kissing wasn't enough, he bit down on my scent gland. Instantly, the gland that had been deprived of pheromones for so long was nourished, turning a rosy pink. But just as Liam's hands gripped my waist, a wave of pain washed over me. I frowned, my face turning pale. Liam let go of me, his expression turning anxious. Leo, what's wrong? I bit my lip, breaking out in a cold sweat. My stomach, it really hurts. Liam's expression changed in a flash, reverting to his daytime self. He released calming pheromones, murmuring reassurances. Hang on, I'm taking you to the hospital. When I opened my eyes again, I was surrounded by white. I blinked, turning my head to avoid the harsh light. As I turned, I saw Liam standing by the bed, his face dark. I was about to speak, but Liam cut me off with a cold voice. Explain this. We've only been married for a month. Why is the baby in your stomach 2 months old? I looked at him in disbelief, then down at my flat stomach. I stared at his face, searching for any sign he was joking. He wasn't joking. On the contrary, he was furious. Don't understand? Liam leaned in close, his hand pressing down on my abdomen. In here, you're carrying a bastard. I stared blankly at his hand. His hand moved up, and Liam suddenly grabbed my chin, forcing me to look up. Couldn't find the bastard's father. So your family was in a hurry to find someone to take the fall? Meeting his sharp gaze, my heart hammered against my ribs. No. My mind raced, replaying the events of the past few weeks. During that half-month, Liam had mostly just held me and marked me. We'd only gone all the way a few times. Even when he was like a goofy golden retriever, he was always careful to use protection. But now an accident had happened anyway. Then explain it, Liam said, releasing me and straightening up. I rubbed my reddened chin, thinking back on his words. You just said. I bit my lip and asked, how many months along is the baby? Liam's thin lips parted. 2 months. 2 months, I touched my stomach in a daze. After calming down, I did a quick calculation. That would be the night at the hotel. I stared at my stomach, dumbfounded. Are top-tier alphas really that potent? Able to get a recessive omega pregnant in one go? No wonder everyone says you should find a top-tier alpha. Seeing me silent, Liam let out a sneer. What, too many to count? Can't remember which alpha it was? His expression was so foul that I scrambled to answer. It's yours. Now it was Liam's turn to be stunned. A moment later, he collected himself and raised his voice. Leo, what nonsense are you spouting? I said firmly, he's not a bastard. He's yours. Disbelief was written all over Liam's face as his eyes burned into me. I took a deep breath and picked up the ultrasound report from the side table. Liam was still standing by the bed, his gaze fixed on my stomach. I thought for a moment and said, if you don't believe me, we can do an amniocentesis in 2 months. You can see the paternity test results for yourself. Liam didn't respond. It seemed he had no memory of that night at the hotel at all. Considering his recent memory blackouts, I wasn't surprised. I tried to jog his memory. Don't you remember? It was that night at the hotel. What hotel? Liam's mind was a complete blank. When were you and I ever at a hotel together? My mouth opened, but a wave of exhaustion washed over me. Forget it. I could understand his disbelief, but I felt wrong, too. Liam, you should go. Then get some rest. Liam didn't argue. He turned and walked out. Watching his back, my chest filled with a sour ache, and my throat felt terribly dry. Just as the hospital room door was about to close, I reminded him softly, Liam, aren't you curious why he isn't rejecting your pheromones? I didn't see Liam again until the next afternoon. Liam's omega father, Sean, heard I was in the hospital for the pregnancy and brought me some homemade soup. Why isn't Liam here? Given Liam's expression when he left last night, he must have been furious. He was probably still stewing today. After a moment's hesitation, I decided to make an excuse for him. He's busy with work. I'll call and give him a piece of my mind later, Sean said with a frown. You're in the hospital and he's still off at work. Sean ladled a bowl of soup and placed it in front of me. Are you having any morning sickness? No. Probably because of the frequent marking, I had a steady supply of pheromones. In fact, my appetite was great. Seeing that I was fine, Sean didn't stay long. Before he left, he looked at me thoughtfully, as if he had something to say. After hesitating, he finally spoke. Leo, son, can I ask you to help Liam with his disorder? If I wasn't mistaken, their family had been in such a hurry to arrange our marriage because Liam's condition required a highly compatible omega for treatment. Sean nodded, confirming my suspicion. The medication only controls it can't cure it. Only pheromones can alleviate the symptoms. Under Sean's hopeful gaze, I nodded in agreement. We were already married, with a baby on the way. Of course I wouldn't stand by and do nothing. Besides, if Liam didn't get better, I would be the one suffering. That evening, Liam appeared in my hospital room. His face was unreadable, but his eyes were fixed on my stomach. His stare made me so uncomfortable that I quickly grabbed a pillow to cover myself. Liam tore his gaze away and pulled a chair over to the bed. He casually picked up an apple and began peeling it. I asked the hotel for the security footage. And I turned my head to look at him. Liam frowned. The hotel said the cameras were conveniently broken that day. Nothing was recorded. I lowered my eyes. So you still don't believe me, do you? I cut him off. You don't have to explain. The result is what it is. Liam looked down, focusing on peeling the apple in silence. A moment later, he had sliced the apple into pieces, stuck a small fork in one, and held it out to me. I stared at him and the apple, hesitating. Liam brought it directly to my lips. Don't worry. I won't do anything to either of you. As the apple entered my mouth, I heard Liam say, whether he's my child or not. As long as he's your child, I will provide him with calming pheromones. After I was discharged, I found the guest room completely empty. I looked everywhere, but all my things were gone. Just as I was about to ask Liam, I saw him leaning against the doorframe with his arms crossed. Our eyes met. Your things are in the master bedroom, he said. Why did you move them? I asked, heading toward the master. Was it because Sean had asked me to help him? Moving in together would make it more convenient? Doesn't the baby need pheromones? Liam followed me into the bedroom. If we live together, my residual pheromones will be here even when I'm not home. The faint scent of sweet wine lingered in the air. It was the scent an alpha leaves behind after living in a space for a long time. I subtly took in Liam's room. The cool tone decor was a stark contrast to the guest room I had been staying in. I had a delayed realization. Liam had actually redecorated the guest room for me before I moved in. It seemed he wasn't as opposed to this marriage as I had thought. I put all your clothes in the closet, Liam said before turning and leaving the room. Liam worked late and didn't get back until much later. The sound of running water trickled from the bathroom. I hugged his blanket, inhaling the faint scent of sweet wine, and waited for him to come out. He was taking an unusually long shower. At first, I was a little nervous, but as I waited, I started to get sleepy. Just as I was about to drift off, Liam finally lay down beside me. The scent of shower gel mixed with sweet wine wafted over, and my mind began to wander. This was the first time we were sharing a bed while he was fully conscious. My face flushed, and I pulled the covers over my head, forcing myself to sleep. But habit is a terrifying thing. I had gotten used to Liam holding me as I slept, and now I couldn't fall asleep at all. After tossing and turning a few times, a deep voice came from behind me. Can't sleep? I froze. Yeah, a little. After a long pause, I heard Liam say vaguely, me neither. I paused for a second, then turned over to face him. Staring at his handsome profile, my heart suddenly started racing. My scent gland started itching for no reason, and I reached up to scratch it. After a moment of thought, I said carefully, your dad told me a couple of days ago that your disorder needs pheromones to get better. Liam glanced at me without a word, so I swallowed hard. Do you want to mark me? In the dim light of the night lamp, I could easily see his Adam's apple bob. He clearly wanted to, but he was too afraid to say it. Liam asked in a low voice, do you want me to? I pursed my lips and asked again, right now, do you want to mark me? Liam's breathing hitched. Do you want me to? My face burning, I pulled the blanket up to cover myself. I whispered an excuse, it's not me who wants it, it's the baby. The room fell silent. A moment later, I heard rustling beside me. I instinctively held my breath, clutching the blanket, at a loss. The person next to me suddenly reached out and wrapped an arm around my waist. My body went stiff as Liam turned me over so my back was to him. He pulled my collar down, exposing my scent gland. I swallowed, waiting in anticipation. But Liam didn't move. Is something wrong? I asked nervously. It's nothing. Liam gently rubbed my scent gland. I let out a soft moan and hugged the blanket tighter. The next moment, something soft and wet pressed against my skin. It was a gentle kiss. Before I could savor it, a sharp pain followed. The scent of sweet wine flooded my gland, and I couldn't stop myself from trembling. Time stretched on until my mind went blank. It wasn't until I felt a stinging, wet lick on the back of my neck that I snapped back to reality. Sorry, the doctor said a temporary mark needs to be deeper. Liam got out of bed to get a medicated patch and helped me apply it. After marking me, just like before, he pulled me into his arms. I found a comfortable position and was finally able to fall asleep. Gradually, my flat stomach began to swell. The baby's presence became more and more apparent. Liam also became more and more attentive to me and the baby. He kept his word. Whenever he was home, the scent of his sweet wine pheromones enveloped me. Watching his busy figure in the kitchen, I felt a stir in my heart and walked over quickly. I asked casually, "What's for dinner tonight? Didn't you say you wanted to eat?" Before he could finish, I stood on my tiptoes and planted a quick kiss on his cheek. Liam froze, as if rooted to the spot. Only after the kiss did I feel a wave of shyness. I had acted on impulse. I hadn't thought about whether Liam would be okay with my sudden kiss. I took 2 steps back and smiled awkwardly. I was about to use the baby wants pheromones excuse when he suddenly grabbed the back of my head and kissed me back. I let out a few muffled protests, struggling to no avail. I could only tilt my head back, forced to let him kiss me until I was breathless. The only thing I could do was cling to his neck to keep my weak legs from giving out. The frantic thumping of a heartbeat filled my ears. I couldn't tell if it was his or mine. When it was over, I stared at him with watery eyes, dazed. Liam's voice was hoarse as he wiped my mouth. "Go watch some TV, or we won't be having dinner tonight." My eyes darted around, catching sight of a certain perky part of him, and I instantly fled the kitchen in a panic. So awkward, so mortifying. After dinner, I carried a bowl of fruit to the living room. Liam was watching the financial news. "Come here." I did as he said. The moment I set the bowl down, Liam pulled me onto his lap. He had been different lately. Before, he would only show his clingy side right before bed. But for the past few days, whenever he was home, he needed me by his side. The sweet wine scent was stronger than usual. I couldn't help but ask, "Is your rut coming soon?" Liam grunted in affirmation, stuffing a grape into my mouth. A sudden panic seized my heart. "Then what are we going to do?" "It's fine." Liam nuzzled the back of my neck. "I'll just use suppressants." A wave of guilt washed over me. Liam had been constantly providing me with calming pheromones, and now I couldn't help him through his rut. I opened my mouth but couldn't think of a good solution. Liam changed the subject. "Isn't your prenatal checkup tomorrow?" His hand moved to my belly, touching it gently before intertwining his fingers with mine. "Yeah," I nodded. "Are you coming with me?" I checked the reminder on my phone. It was time for the amniocentesis. "Come with me." I made the decision for him before he could answer. "We'll do the amnio tomorrow, and you can give a blood sample for the test." Liam's hand tightened. "We don't have to." He paused, then added, "I looked it up. An amnio can be risky for the baby." "We have to do it," I said, pulling my hand away and standing up. The memory of Liam's disbelieving face was like a thorn in my side. "After all, you don't trust me." Liam had missed all my previous checkups. This was the first time he had come with me. I lay down on the bed with practiced ease and pulled up my shirt. The doctor instructed Liam to sit by the bed and release calming pheromones. When the strong, steady heartbeat came through the fetal heart monitor, the scent of sweet wine wavered for a moment. He asked, confused, "What's that?" The doctor explained, "That's the baby's heartbeat. It's a lot faster than an adult's." The doctor then did an ultrasound. Liam's eyes flickered, staring intently at the blurry little blob on the screen. Soothed by the pheromones, the baby stretched in my belly. Liam and I looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. When it was over, Liam helped me wipe the ultrasound gel off my stomach. "Leo, what is it?" I glanced at the alpha walking beside me. After a moment of silence, Liam shook his head. "Nothing." He accompanied me to get the amniocentesis sample, silently releasing pheromones to calm me. After the procedure, Liam drove me home. He was silent the whole way. I quietly stared at the little blob on the ultrasound printout. Just before I got out of the car, Liam suddenly spoke. "I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to miss your previous checkups." I gave him a surprised look. Liam didn't elaborate, simply leaning toward me. I instinctively closed my eyes and held my breath. With a click, my seatbelt released. I realized my mistake, and my face flushed red. Liam, a moment behind, propped his hand on the car window and asked in a low voice, "Do you need pheromones?" "Yes, I do." And so we shared a long, lingering kiss. Liam straightened up. "Don't wait up for me for dinner." Late that night, Liam rushed home. He looked exhausted. His cheeks flushed an unnatural red. "Are you in your rut?" I asked. Liam stood silently by the bed for a long time. Finally, he slowly shook his head. He didn't seem to have a good handle on his pheromones. They were swirling chaotically in the air. "Then are you?" His scent was sweet wine. I couldn't tell if he'd been drinking or if his pheromones were just that strong. Liam bent down towards me, his voice low and raspy with exhaustion. "Let me just hold you for a bit, okay?" Why was he even asking? The fact that he asked made me feel incredibly shy. I nodded, but he didn't move. Finally, I took the initiative and reached out to hug him. The moment our bodies touched, I realized his temperature was frighteningly high. "Liam, you have a fever." I panicked, half pulling, half supporting him. "I'm fine." Liam released me and walked straight to the bathroom. I couldn't get a straight answer out of him, and I was exhausted too. Lying back down, I tried to lull myself to sleep. By the time Liam came out of the bathroom, I was still wide awake. The sound of the water was so annoying, so loud. Liam was annoying too, ignoring my concern. I sat up angrily. "Liam, if you don't tell me what's going on, you can sleep on the floor tonight." Liam froze, looking like he was going to maintain his silence. Patted my belly. "My stomach hurts. I need pheromones." Liam let out a silent sigh. He knelt by the bed and released his pheromones. Pursed my lips. "You have a fever and I'm worried. But when I ask you what's wrong, you don't say anything." As I spoke, my eyes started to sting. "If you really hate me that much, let's just end this marriage." "I don't hate you," Liam said, suddenly grabbing my hand. "I'm sorry. I just didn't want to worry you." I tried to pull my hand away. "But when you don't say anything, I worry anyway." Liam kissed my forehead. "I'm fine." I just went and got a high-dose suppressant shot. A sour ache spread through my heart. I took a deep breath and said softly, "The doctor said it's okay now to..." Liam clapped a hand over my face, blocking my view. He urged, "Go to sleep. If you stay up, the baby has to stay up with you." "You really don't want to?" I asked as he lay down. "Just holding you is enough." Liam managed to get through his rut. My father called and told me to bring him over for Toby's birthday. With the Mason family's backing, our company was thriving, and now my father found me pleasing to the eye in every way. "How are you and Liam getting along?" His eyes held a fawning look I'd never seen before. "We're okay, I guess." I casually adjusted my shirt, glad I'd worn a jacket today. My baby bump wasn't huge, so it was still concealable. I didn't want them to know about this. Before dinner started, I pulled Liam upstairs. Unexpectedly, Toby was waiting for us at the door to my old room. "Liam, brother, you're back." Toby smiled as he approached, his pheromones thick in the air. I frowned and pulled Liam back a few steps. "You know there's an alpha here. Why aren't you wearing a scent blocker? What's there to be afraid of? Haven't you two marked each other?" Toby's eyes were fixed on me. Or was my brother marked by someone else that night? My hands tightened unconsciously, clenching the hem of my shirt. Liam pulled me protectively into his arms, his expression displeased. "That's none of your business." "Liam, did you know? That night at the hotel, my brother slept with another alpha." I immediately looked at the alpha beside me, my stomach twisting with anxiety. Liam had never believed that it was him with me that night, but I was terrified to hear him say it out loud. "I know." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. The baby was already months along, and he still didn't believe me. Then Liam added that alpha was me.
Impossible.
Toby shouted in disbelief. "I arranged everything that day. How could it be you?" As soon as the words were out, the air fell silent. Realizing his slip of the tongue had exposed him, Toby immediately retreated into his room. Not long after we went to the room, my mom called me downstairs to chat. Even though I wasn't the favorite, I was still her biological child. Liam's a nice guy, isn't he? My mom looked me up and down. You look like you've put on some weight. I pinched my cheeks. Is it that obvious? Not really, my mom shook her head, then launched into the topic of grandkids. I nodded vaguely, all the while trying to hide my baby bump. Without warning, a powerful alpha pheromone exploded in the house. The oppressive scent made everyone in the villa break out in a cold sweat. Only I was unaffected. I realized with a jolt that it was Liam's pheromones. The sweet wine scent was out of control, mixing rapidly with an unfamiliar omega scent. I panicked and scrambled upstairs. I knew it. Toby wouldn't let this go. From behind the closed door, I could hear faint cries of pain and heavy panting. Holding the spare key, I hesitated, afraid to open that door. What if something had already happened? The pheromones were so thick. What's going on, Leo? My mom asked, rushing over. Why are the pheromones so strong? Her eyes met my tear-filled ones, and she froze for a second, murmuring, "No way, Toby was just in his room a minute ago." The door was kicked open with a bang. A chaotic mix of pheromones hit me, making me gag. I was stunned by the scene inside the room. On the carpet, a pool of blood was starkly visible. Toby was on the floor, clutching the back of his neck and screaming in pain. Why can Leo have you, but I can't? My mom snapped out of her shock and ran to hold Toby, frantically asking him what was wrong. Her only answer was Toby's agonizing wails. I didn't see Liam, but I could smell his pheromones. I dry heaved, leaning against the doorframe. Liam! Liam emerged from the bathroom, his face grim and his lips pale. His clothes were stained with blood, and there was blood all over his neck. He walked towards me, not even glancing at the mother and son on the floor. I'm fine. As he said it, he swayed and nearly fell. I struggled to help him downstairs, and the Mason family's driver came to lend a hand. Once we were in the car, I noticed with alarm that Liam's own scent gland was bleeding. What did you do to your gland? Liam smoothed my furrowed brow and said calmly, I cut it. He said it so casually, but my heart ached even more. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought you back to my family's house. Liam's fingertips brushed my cheek. Don't cry. Give me some of your pheromones, Leo. It hurts a little. I hastily wiped away my tears and quickly released my calming pheromones for him. After Liam's wound was bandaged, he had his pheromones checked. His pheromone imbalance disorder had been cured by the injury to his gland. The illness was caused by a pheromone overload. Now that his gland was damaged, missing a small piece, it would no longer overproduce. It was a blessing in disguise. On our way out, we ran into my mother. Toby's gland had been cut too deeply, it was almost completely ruined. If it couldn't be saved, it would have to be surgically removed. Intimidated by the Mason's power, my mother could only glare at Liam, not daring to speak. Liam said flatly, Toby dared to drug Leo, so he should be prepared to face the consequences. With that, he ignored them and led me out of the hospital. Back home, I looked at the gauze on his neck and thought about what he'd said. I had been holding it in the whole way, but I couldn't resist asking, if you had marked Toby, would you have divorced me and married him? Liam glanced at me. No, I would never have marked him. Why? Liam simply covered my mouth. There aren't so many whys. Before I could ask more, my phone buzzed with a new message. It was the paternity test results. Since the matter was already confirmed in my mind, I didn't bother opening it. After a thought, I asked Liam, the results are in. Do you want to see them? Liam seemed to have forgotten. What? I opened the report and handed him my phone. Liam glanced at it and handed it back. I smelled his sweet wine scent becoming chaotic again. Leaning closer, I could even hear his rapid heartbeat. I stared at his profile and asked softly, Is it the result you were hoping for? Liam nodded, his large hand moving to my slightly rounded belly. If it had been Toby that night, and he had gotten pregnant, would you have canceled our marriage to be responsible for him and the baby? I was always fixated on this. I needed to hear Liam say the words I wanted to hear. There are no ifs, Liam said decisively. If it had been him that night, I wouldn't have lost control. So, does that mean you like? My words were cut off as Liam's lips captured mine. The scent of sweet wine enveloped me, my body feeling light, as if I were floating. Liam laid me down on the soft duvet. There will never be anyone else, and there will never be any other possibility. He intertwined his fingers with mine, his expression serious. Because I only like you. I had finally heard the answer I wanted. I smiled in satisfaction, pulled him in, and we shared a kiss. Liam's POV. When I found out I had to marry an Omega, I was in a foul mood, especially when my dad applied for a pheromone compatibility test for me. There was an Omega with a 97.45% match, which only made me more annoyed. But all that annoyance suddenly vanished the moment I saw that Omega at the dinner party. It seemed that living with a beautiful Omega might not be such a bad thing. He looked a little dazed. When I called his name, his eyes went wide, round like a little deer's. On the day we got our license, I was half an hour late because of traffic. When I arrived, Leo was squatting by a flower bed, playing on his phone. Worried about a potential switcheroo, I called out to him. The moment I saw his bewildered expression, I knew it was really him. I wasn't sure if the Omega liked me, so I had to restrain myself. But the more I held back, the more problems arose. The next morning, I woke up in Leo's bed. My mind was a complete blank about our wedding night. His accusing glare made me panic. For several days in a row, I had blackouts. Realizing it was due to my pheromone disorder, I took more medication. But I didn't tell Leo. I kept pretending to have amnesia, enjoying the way he soothed me. I never expected him to have a trick up his sleeve recording a video. I didn't want to admit that the alpha in the video was me. He was so stupid, crying and making a scene. Leo seemed to really like that version of me. But whenever he looked at me, there was always a hint of fear. I went on a business trip for 2 weeks. He seemed perfectly happy on his own. When I got back from the trip, my world fell apart. Leo was pregnant, and the child wasn't mine. We'd been married for a month, but he was 2 months pregnant. He said it was mine. I couldn't believe we had slept together 2 months ago, because I had absolutely no memory of it. He was probably just trying to appease me, afraid I'd be angry. And I was angry. He was carrying another alpha's child, and that alpha wasn't taking responsibility. How I wished that child was mine. But after I calmed down, I didn't care anymore. He was already married to me. It didn't matter whose child it was. As long as Leo was my Omega. If Leo wanted to keep the baby, then I would provide him with calming pheromones. When my rut came, I went to the hospital for high-dose suppressants. Even though Leo offered to help me, I refused. What if I lost control during my rut and hurt him? I couldn't take that risk. Accompanying Leo to his family's house led to an accident. Toby found out that Leo and I hadn't fully marked each other. Unmarked pairs are easily affected by pheromones. Toby tried to induce my rut. I remembered Toby admitting he had drugged Leo. In a moment of rage, I acted ruthlessly and destroyed his scent gland. But at that moment, the rut I had just suppressed was triggered. I had no choice but to do the same to myself. I never thought it would be a blessing in disguise. My disorder was cured. The paternity test results came back. The baby was really mine. Suddenly, I realized how lucky I was. The Omega I was arranged to marry was just my type, and our compatibility was high. When Leo was drugged with an inducer, I was the one who happened to help him. And because of that, we were having a baby together. He happened to like me, and I liked him too.